Welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast with Don and Suzanne Manning. Parents, what if we could give you the power to transform your family into something absolutely amazing?
A family where everyone is healthy, gets along, loves Jesus, and has great purpose in life.
Hey, let us flip your thinking to unlock the power God has given you to create your own Crazy Cool family.
Hey, Crazy Cool families. My name is Julie Pierce, and I'm a leadership coach. I invest in leaders all over the world, but I'm also a mom, investing in 2 leaders who live in my house. And if you want to help your kids love Jesus, love others, and also become the leaders that they were created to be, I highly encourage you to check out Basecamp. Just 30 minutes a week, and you'll get to access all of the tips and the tools and the practical resources that Don and Suzanne have put together over the years. I mean, I've learned so much from them over the years, and I know you have too. And now they put it all in one place to make it easy for us. Just 30 minutes a week, and I promise you're going to see a big impact in your family.
Hello and welcome to the Crazy Cool Family Podcast. Don and Suzanne Manning here, wrapping up our Fight for Family series.
Well, I don't know if we're going to wrap it up, but we're going to wrap up the FIGHT.
There you go.
And so we've been talking about each letter in the word fight. F is for faith. I inspire. G is for
Giving.
Yes. And we just finished up H for
Hugs.
Yes. And then today we're going to talk about.
That's a fun one. You go if you didn't listen to that one, go back and listen.
Yep. And because hugging's fun,
Yep.
Reality is. And then as we wrap up the word fight, it ends with a T, and T is for
Teach.
Yeah, and so that's what we're going to talk about today is teaching our children, training them up in the way that they should go so that they will not depart from it when they are old.
Yes, Proverbs 22:6. It's one of those verses every parent should memorize.
Because that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're training, you're
and
teaching.
And all, let's just lay it out there, all our parents are teaching their children.
Right.
We are. It's not a matter of if you are teaching. It really is, how can we help you teach them better? And teach
and
them
what are we
best?
teaching them? And what? Yeah, how? What? Where? When? Who?
Yeah,
all
so
the
we
things.
want to so don't think that we're telling you don't teach your kids or anything. That's not the case at all. We are saying, hey, what does it look like to teach our kids?
Yeah.
What have we learned in 30 years of parenting about teaching our children and how that could help you teach them in the best way possible?
Yeah, and so I think we should definitely share with them how not to teach, which is what we learned the first decade, right, of our parenting.
Well, and they're still learning in so many ways.
So many.
Because, I think so often we get parents and they're like, I know we hear this a lot. My kids won't listen to me. Mm-hmm. My kids, no matter what I say, they don't do what I say. As soon as I start talking to them, they shut down, all those things. And it's because of some of these things that happen. And
you're talking too much. It's one of the reasons we want to tell parents, oh, do you talk more than you listen? Oh, that could be it. They're tired of listening to you.
I would say almost every parent I know, including us at times, I think we've learned over 30 years a little bit more, almost every parent over-parents.
Right, uses more words than they need to in every situation.
The first time I ever saw this, I was actually it was before, when Molly was a young girl. And I remember going to looking at how Suzanne parented Molly, and I would say, she would say, Molly, and Molly would be like 1 year old.
Yes, she was so cute. One.
And she would be like, Molly, go get your red shoes from the closet. And then silence.
From me and Molly.
Yes.
As Molly's looking at me like, da-na-na-na.
And it was fascinating to me because Molly would then all of a sudden, it would register. Like 10 seconds later, which seemed like about 5 minutes. And then all of a sudden, she would go and get her red shoes. But now what I would do is say, Molly, go get your red shoes. I said go get your red shoes.
Why haven't you gone to get your red shoes?
Hey, red shoes, red. And I would just...
This is the color red.
But I learned that it took a while, and that's just a really random example, but
right.
It took a while for her to register And so often parents, less is better.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, I mean, you could extend that all the way to our teenagers when we're sharing something with our teenager. If we will say a sentence or two and let that register, and it might be that we're telling them, no, they can't do something, and that needs to register for them. But we'll go, well, you can't do this because of this, and this is why you can't do this. And I used to do this, and it's not going to be good, and the kids have now tuned out. And anyway,
my boys still tell me all the time, Dad, too many words.
Too many. Back up. Well, and so what's your reason for too many words?
Oh, I need to fully explain things.
Yes, because clear. That's clarity. That's his thing. Clarity.
I want to make sure you understand. But, I think
I used to play a game with Don because I'm an internal processor, and so he would say something, and it would take me a while to process it, and so I wouldn't say anything, and so he would say it again, and he would say it again, and I would count, and when he got up to about 5, I was like, okay, babe, I got it. I'm just thinking about it, and so we don't do it anymore. He doesn't do that anymore because he now knows that I am an internal processor, and it takes me a minute. But for initially, you probably thought I was dumb.
It only took me about 20 years to figure that out, but
my wife is so dumb.
I think, though, that with many parents, the repetitive stuff turns into nagging and lectures. Yeah. And when you try to teach through nagging and lectures, it's not really that effective. Mm-hmm. I mean, what is the definition of a lecture? It's a long, tedious reprimand.
Yes, Who wants that, right?
Yeah. Oh, and who wants to hear the same things over and over from anyone?
I think it's an assault to our intelligence when somebody is told over and over and over again the same thing. It's like, do you not think I'm smart enough to understand what you're saying? And so honor your kids and let them see that, okay, I don't need to say it over and over again. They've got it.
I find also, and it frustrates me sometimes as a parent, that it's about tone. There's so often that when I'm teaching, I get into this.
What frustrates you because you want to be able to use whatever tone you want? Is that what you mean? Well, what frustrates you?
I feel like that.
Or they use a rude tone with you?
I'm passionate about something. I am really wanting to convey something, and they take it as either sometimes it's Suzanne, sometimes it's the kids of Dad. It's like it's coming at them too harsh. It's coming at them too hard. I don't mean it to be too hard. I'm just trying to get my point across, and it's like it just feels like that it's not taken right.
Well, they've said that to us several times. They've said, "What's up with this tone? What's up with the tone?" And Dawn and I are having a conversation with each other, and we're both like, I don't know. You have a problem with the tone? I don't have a problem with the tone. But we're passionate, as you can tell, on these podcasts, we're passionate, we're intense. And so that's coming across in our tone. Yeah. But our children are sensitive to it.
Right.
I mean,
and sometimes it really does. I don't have as much of a problem with anger, particularly now, as I used to. And I don't really think I've ever been a real angry person. But we tell it to a lot of parents who really struggle with anger. And angry tirades are not ways to teach your kids. We think that if it's some reason we think that if they don't hear it in this tone of voice, if I get louder, and sometimes it's because we're angry or we're frustrated or we think we've told them time and time again. But man, anger really does damage when you're trying to teach your kids.
Yeah, most definitely. That I would say it slams the door shut, and I definitely did that when I was younger. If the girls were not moving at the pace I wanted them to, or doing it the way I wanted it, then I would usually quickly go to anger, and that just shut them down and made them more fearful of me than connected to me. And so, yeah, I would 100% say that as you're going to teach, if anger is part of the ways that you're getting them to listen and learn from you, remove it, because it's not valuable. It's not sticking. They're actually building walls against you. They're not learning from you at all. They might be obeying, but they're not learning.
Yeah, it really does shut them down. I remember even with my own father that as soon as he started yelling at me, I shut down. I mean, I would stop. I would literally stop listening.
Yeah,
because
it's a protection mechanism. You have to.
Well, and it was also just I didn't. It was going to be repetitive. It was going to be, just at me instead of for me. I felt like, and so it literally would make me want to walk away.
Yeah, and so just to take just a second and just say that it's a privilege and an honor that we get to teach our kids. I mean, just to go there and know that we get to do this with our kids. And so let's not do it the wrong way. Let's not do it the angry way or the lecturing way. Let's embrace what God has created for us as their first best teachers and then pave the way to do it right. So what are some of the ways to do it right?
Well, and so that's so fun. We got all the negative out of the way. We can start going to the positive. So we got all the bad stuff out of the way. So what about just listening? We think about it's our job to teach. We don't equate listening with teaching.
Right.
But in reality, listening is a great way to teach because, and by asking questions and trying to draw them out, we get to it makes our teaching so much more effective.
Yeah, because how we teach, what that's doing is it's connecting with our kids. It's going after their hearts.
I mean, how we listen.
For sure how we listen, but how we teach, what it does is it offers our kids a safe place to be. And so it offers our kids to be who they are. So as we listen to them, then as we teach them, as we come to them with information, what we're doing is we're connecting with them. And so to do that is a listening way, to do that through questions, to do that through guiding them and directing them to come to their own best conclusion, because reality is we know the best conclusion. We know the answer. We were 7, 12, 15, 18. That situation presented itself to us and we were either told how to deal with it or we figured it out on our own. And the best thing we can do when we teach our kids is to let them figure it out and guide them along the way.
Yeah, we certainly can. And that's so much more time consuming. It's so much easier just to tell them what to do, but so much more effective when they can come to their conclusion and then they own it.
Right.
And really what happens is when they own it, we don't have to teach it to them anymore.
Yeah.
If they really own cleaning their room, for example, then if they own their grades, we don't have to follow up on their grades anymore. If they own whatever it is, if they own their own faith, they will then act out of that faith rather than us having to teach them all the time.
Exactly. And so one of the things that we tell parents all the time that I struggled with initially because I wanted my kids to not make, I wanted my kids to be right and do good and look good and all that stuff was to make mistakes.
Right, to let them make mistakes.
To let them make mistakes, to allow that to happen. Let them not study for that test as good as they needed to and make the grade that they deserve on it.
I mean, that's even a great example. What if they come to us and they made a bad grade on their 5th grade spelling test?
Right.
Well, I mean, that's not going on their permanent record. And so, what if we
No one cares.
What if we ask them, well, why did you, what do you want to do? Well, I want to make a good grade. Okay. How are you going to do that? Well, I need to study more. Well, can I help you in that way? In any way, can I help? And then we start to build in to where they bring the spelling to you.
And they ask for your help to learn it. Yeah. There's so many, I can't even tell you how many questions we get for Two Crazy Equal Family on what do I do? How do I help my child study for their exams? Or how do I make my child study better for their exams? Or what do I do if my child's not doing their homework? Constant questions on that. And my answer to that is you cannot care more about their schoolwork than they do. And so if you are caring more about that, then it's time for you to hand that over to them and teach them how to care about it because it's their education. You've already had a 3rd grade education, right, parents? So you don't need another one. You need them to hold on to care for it. And so how do you teach them to do that?
Right. And it's just, you can see that, and this goes to, if you look at our Build Culture series, we talk about encouraging, listening, about how to instill discipline in your kids, how to disciple your kids. And one of the things we say in that is that we are always looking to build self-control in our kids. We are looking to move from parent control to self-control. And that's what you want to teach them. And you teach it better when you listen, when you let them own it themselves, and when you help them to their own conclusions.
Exactly. And so, and one last thing on how to teach them, what we're doing there is we really want to help them make great relationships, choose relationships in their lives. And so to do that, you start with your peers. You start with your siblings, and then you move to your peers. Siblings is best friends. We talk about that in our culture series as well.
So how would you say that helps us teach our kids by having their siblings be pursuing those relationships? What would you say that helps with?
Oh my goodness. So here's the deal, parents. It's a shortcut for you, because if you teach the older ones how to do it and the best way to do it, then now they are empowered and equipped to teach the younger ones. And so you're not even teaching as much anymore, because it's the way of life. It's the culture. It's what the Mannings do. You know, the Mannings make their bed in the morning. It's what they do. Big sister makes it and big brother makes it. And so I'm going to make it too.
Well, and even then and that's true. And you also teach your older children to invest in your younger children.
Definitely.
And what happens is, what if let's let that be a flip. Instead of your kids fighting, what if they invest in each other? Mm-hmm. And what if they're helping you parent your kids instead of creating conflicts?
Oh, there's so much in that, and even in that sibling relationship, it's getting along with, and there's qualities that they might not like in that sibling, but it's like, okay, you know what? There's qualities that are out there in the world. If you can figure out how to get along with those qualities in your sibling, then your classmate, your teacher, you're going to know how to get along with those qualities there too. So teaching them relationships, how to get along.
Right. So we've talked about how not to teach your kids.
Yeah.
We've talked about how to teach your kids, maybe flipping some things and you're thinking about some methodologies in teaching your kids.
Yeah.
What do we teach our kids?
Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Yes, it goes back to, this is a privilege and an honor that we get to teach our kids, that God put them in our lives, trusting us to train and teach them up in the way that they should go. Mm. And so when we talked about the F in fight, we talked about faith. And we talked about sharing God and sharing the relationship through scripture, worship experiences. And so we're not talking about that here, although that is a very big element of teach. I mean, once again, just to repeat that, we're the first chance our kids get at faith. And so we have to teach them that. That's elevated. That's the most thing. But we're actually going to talk about just some of the things that we teach our kids so that they will be a success in this world.
And in Crazy Cool Family, we call those things values. And so if you go to our Unity course, for example, if you're not in our Basecamp membership sites, you can go there, basecamp.crazycoolfamily.com, and sign up for it. But in that, there's a course on Unity. Unity is one of our 4 pillars of culture. And we talk about creating family values. These are things that you want in your family and in your kids. They're things what's a value? It's just something that's important to you.
Right, exactly. And so with that, along with the values is morals, character, manners, once again, relationship, how to navigate emotions, how to be successful, how to fail. I mean, these are some of the things as parents that we are called to show our children how to do it.
Yeah. We were just talking about, we just made a quick list of some things that we value, that we taught our kids. And this is not an exhaustive list, but it's just a list of things.
It's 20. It's 20 of the top 20 things that we thought about in the moment to tell you about what we've taught our kids.
Yeah. Are they really top things?
That's what I'm saying, that we thought of in the moment.
Exactly. And so the list is just this, like proper table manners.
Chew with your mouth closed, basically. It's disgusting. One time we had some friends that said that their parents told them that someday you might find yourself eating with kings. And so you need to know how to do that. And sure enough, he worked for President George Bush.
Yeah, that's right.
And so he actually got to live that out. And so that's one of those things that, somebody needs to teach your kids table manners, and guess what? It needs to be you.
Okay. Excuse me, please, thank you.
Oh, those are all manners. It's a blessing when people hear that. Excuse me, please.
Even things like one of the things that's not taught as much anymore is yes, sir, and no, sir.
Oh,
yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. When you're respecting your elders and things like that.
I love that. One of the things that's a very big deal to me is to leave a place better than you found it. And I've gone on a mission trip with dozens and dozens of teenagers, and I've tried to give them this piece of information as well, that if we eat at a restaurant and it's a fast food restaurant and you get up and you leave that mess, you've created a mess for somebody else to clean up. But if you clean up your mess and somebody else's, then you've actually left it better than you found it. And so my children are freaks about that now, because I am.
Yep. And so you act like people you are around, so surround yourself with godly people. pick good friends.
Yeah, and one of the things that Don has taught them so well is work hard. Give whatever you're doing, give it your very best.
Yeah.
Don will get out there in the yard and just work so hard, and want the kids to do that too.
Yeah, eye contact, powerful tool, making sure you're keeping eye contact with people. Lying is unacceptable in any situation.
Yeah, and standing up to bullies. I mean, this is, we're starting to talk about kingdom. We've got to teach our kids to stand up to bullies for themselves and on behalf of other people too.
Yeah, offer your help to anyone who needs it. Just
Go the extra mile.
Yep, exactly. It's good to cry. Yeah, it's okay to
we,
cry.
we learned that with our 4 girls.
Oh,
That
yeah.
it's like it's okay. You don't have to hold that in. I needed to know that too as a little girl. I didn't feel safe to cry. So.
Yeah, it's also okay to be angry. It's what you do with your anger is the key. It's not that anger is a bad thing. It's like how you're going to channel that.
And I use this all the time, that God is a God of order, not a God of chaos. So clean your room, clean your backpack out. Your locker needs to be cleaned out. Your car needs to be clean, because God is a God of order.
Yeah, that hadn't worked as well with some of our kids.
Well, the car is
deal.
just really puts them over the top.
Your body is a temple of our God, so take good care of it. Good foods, drink water.
And then, so this, you probably should talk about the next one. Because
money is a game of the world. Learn to manage your money. And it's amazing. All of our kids are very good at managing their money.
Good stewards. Like the girls learned how to be thrifty shoppers because I took them shopping, and the boys, Don sat down one time and laid out all of our finances for them and showed them, because they're going to run the finances of their family someday, and taught them all what that looks like. And so we need to educate our children on that. Our kids talk all the time about, why don't they teach us how to balance a checkbook or pay our taxes in school? Why are they teaching us all this unimportant stuff? And so parents, that managing money falls to you to teach them.
Have a solid handshake.
Oh, yeah.
Make sure you shake their hand firmly.
And another thing is to take care of something living. Like our children need to learn how to be responsible for. We started easy with a plant, and then it moved to a goldfish, which we instantly killed, and then to a gerbil, or then we've had a bird, and we've had several cats. So we haven't taken good care. And then a couple dogs, and so give them an opportunity to take care of something living.
Good hygiene.
Brush your teeth and your hair. Oh my goodness. Children, I don't need to tell you to take a shower. Right. I don't need to tell you to brush your teeth. You need to do that. You need to be responsible for that. Yeah.
Yeah, we've taught our kids all about swimming, riding a bike, tying shoes, all those things on the road to being an adult that you need to learn how to do.
Yep, and then learn how to navigate the Bible. It's the key to an abundant life. We've got to teach our kids that.
And finally, number 20. Number 20 on our list of things we thought of, the top things we thought of to teach our kids.
This exhaustive list that we could do a million more, but we're going to just stop at 20.
Well, and it's be a part of a church, be a part of the body of believers. The point to all that is, what do you think about? These are things all of these things we thought about teaching our children. And there's a lot more, but what are you teaching? What are your values?
Yeah.
What's important to you, and what do you want to impart to your kids?
And maybe take a little exercise, and maybe go on a date with your husband, and you guys list out the things that are valuable to you.
Yeah, those are good exercises to do, to think about what's important to us.
And so that might feel overwhelming to do all that, but I just want to encourage you when to teach these things. When is the best time to teach this?
Yeah, and we just always tell parents it's along the way.
Right.
And it's the reason we say
you don't have to have manners class.
It's or you don't have to do a 6 a.m. Bible study all the time. Those work really well usually. But it's really when we were taught this, to do it along the way. It comes from Deuteronomy. There's actually many examples in the Old Testament where it says this, but Deuteronomy 11:19-20 says, "Teach them to your children, talking about them when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Write them on the door frames of your house and on your gates." That last sentence is one of the reasons we put scripture all over our house, because it writes it on their hearts. And so, but really, when someone told me that many, many years ago, to teach them along the way, it gave me freedom.
Well, because what it means is when you're in the car, in the kitchen table, at bedtime, in the morning, as you're walking along, as you're having a conversation with them, then you weave these little things in there, as you're eating dinner, and you're like, oh, you know what? Don't you think it's disgusting when you chew with your mouth open? Just along the way, it takes the pressure off of it.
And think about how our Bible's written. It's a book of stories. When you teach through the stories of everyday life, rather than, okay, stop, we're going to sit down and have a manners discussion. Stop, we're going to sit down and have a hygiene discussion. Whatever that is, when you're just teaching along the way, it's so much more engaging, and it's taught so much better because we remember through stories, we remember through life, and it just brings freedom to teaching. But it also is really a way of life.
Definitely.
And it's something that you purpose to do as parents, that I'm going to look for teaching moments. And it even
experiences.
Yeah, it even works with discipline. Like, for example, so many times when we see a discipline situation, we want to come bring the hammer, and we're like, wait, this is a teaching situation. What do? Go back to how we go in and we say, hey, what's going on with that? Why would you do that? And then we start talking about it, and then we can then build a platform in order to teach along the way.
Yeah. And so as we wrap up, parents, you just kind of have to ask what's important to you. What morals, values, manners do you want to see in your kids? What kind of character? That's one of the things is that we were raising our kids. It was like, oh, I didn't even think about character. I didn't think about perseverance and honesty, courage, wisdom. I mean, we were doing that, but I didn't think about labeling it as character. We got a whole character study, to do so we could practice some of those things because those were qualities that we wanted to have in our kids.
Yeah, and ultimately, parents, if we looked at what we're teaching our children, it really is, we want to teach them to be kingdom leaders.
Right.
We want to point them, what do leaders do? Leaders do have good hygiene. Leaders do shake the hand.
Yeah.
Leaders do these things. And one of the things that has come out, when you build your kids up, they will become kingdom leaders. As you teach them well, they will become kingdom leaders.
And so, like, sometimes kingdom leaders kingdom feels a little bit like a word that we don't quite understand. It's like, okay, so what's happening in heaven? That's the kingdom we're talking about, and we're talking about bringing that to earth. And so, love, joy, peace, wisdom, grace, mercy, hope. Those are the qualities that are happening in heaven, and we want to teach those to our kids so that they can exemplify those here on earth. So that's what we're talking about. And so then our question is, well, what does it even mean, to teach it, build a, kingdom leader?
Well, guess what? We have a podcast on that next time coming up. We have a lady.
Great podcast.
Yes, a great podcast. A lady named Julie Pierce is going to come visit with us, and she's an expert in leadership.
Yeah, she's gifted. God has gifted her in the ability to create or pull out the leader that God has put in people. And so she's going to share with us next week how she's done that with others and how she's done it with her own sons.
Right, and it's going to be super valuable to you. We hope this podcast has been super valuable to you as we've expanded a little bit on how to teach your kids, how not to teach your kids, what to teach them. You'll always remember our 20 things that we told you, I'm sure. And
then you'll create 20 of your own.
Yeah, and then when to teach them. I love that. Just along the way, building that into your family, that teaching our kids is super valuable. And how we impart our wisdom and God's wisdom to them is critical in building their faith and building their confidence and building their lives.
And so as we wrap up this series, FIGHT, fight, we've got to give our kids the foundation of faith. We've got to inspire them to be who God's created them to be. We've got to give our best so that they can be their best. We've got to hug them 4, 8, 12 times a day, and we got to teach them. We got to train them in the ways of the kingdom and the ways of this world so that they can be a success and be who God's created them to be. That's what we're doing, guys. We're fighting for our families.
Yeah, and we really do. Some people say, why do you call it Crazy Cool Family? We want you to fight for your family in a crazy way, which means it's different than the world. It's God's way. It's investing in your kids. It's fighting in God's ways, and you will find great success in your family. So go be crazy. Crazy in God's way. crazycoolfamily.com.